People have read it who have encountered ghosts or other supernatural beings. What was your experience like? What happened?
As they wheeled me into the operating room, the weight of the surgery pressed down on me. My spine, shattered from a motorcycle accident, needed to be fused, a procedure that would take 11 long hours. The room was cold, unnervingly sterile. Bright lights beamed overhead, casting stark shadows across the faces of the surgical team. I should have been focusing on the procedure, on the rhythmic sounds of preparation. But my gaze drifted, and then I saw them. Two men stood in the corner of the room. They weren't part of the team. They weren't dressed in scrubs or masks. They looked entirely out of place, standing there in silence, unmoving. Something about them felt wrong. I stared, trying to make sense of it. Their faces, too familiar. It wasn't until later, after the surgery, that the realization hit me like a cold wave. Those men were my grandfathers. Both of them, and both of them were long gone. One had died in a hospital, the other during a surgery. I didn't say a word about it at first. I told myself it had to be the drugs, the stress. But then my parents told me something that made my blood run cold. They were sitting in the hospital's food court during the surgery, waiting, hours passing by in that suffocating silence. And then my dad heard it. A voice, not just any voice, it was his father's, clear as if he was standing right next to him. "Everything is going to be all right," the voice said. My dad froze, turned to my mom and told her what he'd heard. But my mom, she wasn't surprised, because she had heard it too. Her father's voice. "They're going to be fine," it said. Both of them, both voices in the same moment. In an empty, dead, silent cafeteria, I think back to that day often, to the men I saw, to the voices my parents heard. Was it all just a coincidence? A trick of the mind born from stress and fear? Or was it something more? A sign, perhaps, that even in our darkest hours, we are not truly alone.